Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Sri Chanda Ballabha Giridharadhari
Jaya Radha
Sri Chanda Ballabha Giridharadhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharadhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Randana Yunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the purport yesterday was longer than many. There's a lot of important points in it, so we didn't actually finish the verse yesterday. We didn't finish the purport anyway. So today we're on 8th Canto, Chapter 6, Text 12. We'll chant the Sanskrit and everything like yesterday, and then I'll continue with, maybe read the second part of the purport again, and then we'll try to speak something, if possible. Yatagnyam ena shamritam chaikoshu Bhuvyanam Ambujamane Chavritin Yogair Manusha Ariyanti Tvam Guneshu Bhujya Kavayo Vadanti Yatagnin Dasyamitam Chagoshu Bhuvyanam Ambudyamane Chavritin Yogair Manusha Ariyanti Tvam Gudeshu Puja Kavayo Vadanti Yatagnin Eda Yashmitang Chagoshu Bhuvyanam Ambudyamane Chavritin Yogair Manusha Ariyanti Tvam Gudeshu Puja Kavayo Vadanti Yatagnin Edas Amritam Chagoshu Bhuvanam Ambudyamane Chavritin Yogair Manusha Ariyanti Tvam Gudeshu Puja Kavayo Vadanti Yatagnin Edas Amritam Chagoshu Bhuvanam Ambudyamane Chavritin Yogair Manusha Ariyanti Tvam Gudeshu Puja Kavayo Vadanti Yatagnim Edas Amritam Chagoshu Bhuvanam Ambudyamane Chavritin Yogair Manusha Ariyanti Tvam Gudeshu Puja Kavayo Vadanti Yatagnin Edas Amritam Chagoshu Bhuvanam Ambudyamane Chavritin Yogair Manusha Ariyanti Tvam Gudeshu Puja Kavayo Vadanti. Word for word synonyms. Yata, as. Agnim, fire. Edasi, in wood. Amritam, milk which is like nectar. Cha, and. Goshu, from cows. Bhuvi, on the ground. Anam, food grains. Ambu, water. Ujamane, in enterprise. Cha, also. Pratim, livelihood. yogai, by practice of bhakti yoga, manushaha, human beings, ariyanti, achieve, he, indeed, twang, you, guneshu, in the material modes of nature, buddhya, by intelligence, kavayaha, great personalities, vadanti, say. Translation: as one can derive fire from wood, milk from the milk bag of a cow, food grains and water from the land, and prosperity in one's livelihood from industrial enterprises, so by the practice of bhakti yoga, even within this material world, one can achieve your favor or intelligently approach you. Those who are pious all affirm this. So, the chapter is called
The Demigods and Demons Declare Truce.
The Demigods and Demons Declare Truce. So, previous chapter, the demigods had gone to the Svetadweep planet and were offering whole chapters. They're offering many prayers to the Lord, seeking His protection because there was a lot of conflict. Here we have conflicts between one family and another, one religion and another. There they're dealing with the entire universe, and the demons come and take over the heavenly planets and these kind of affairs. So when these big things happen, then the demigods, along with Lord Brahma, go to the Shvetadweep planet where Lord Vishnu, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, is, and offer prayers and beg for his help to get out of that situation, because then they realize that they absolutely cannot do it on their own. So that was previous chapter, and now in this chapter, actually they're still offering prayers, but the chapter is called The Demigods and Demons Declare Truce. So we'll gradually come to what that truce is, the agreement is. So I don't remember. We read the whole purport yesterday, but we only didn't cover all the points. So I don't know exactly. What I'll do is I'll read from approximately the middle of the purport, and then we may or may not touch on something we touched on yesterday, but no problem if we do. So continuing with the purport from yesterday. In this verse, the cultivation of bhakti yoga is compared to many material activities. By friction, one can get fire from wood. By digging the earth, one can get food grains and water. And by agitating the milk bag of the cow, one can get nectarian milk. Milk is compared to nectar, which one can drink to become immortal. Of course, simply drinking milk will not make one immortal, but it can increase the duration of one's life. In modern civilization, men do not think milk to be important, and therefore they do not live very long. Although in this age men can live up to 100 years, their duration of life is reduced because they do not drink large quantities of milk. This is a sign of Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, instead of drinking milk, people prefer to slaughter an animal and eat its flesh. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his instructions of Bhagavad Gita, advises Go Raksha, which means cow protection. The cow should be protected. Milk should be drawn from the cows, and this milk should be prepared in various ways. One should take ample milk, and thus one can prolong one's life, develop his brain, execute devotional service, and ultimately attain the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is essential to get food grains and water by digging the earth, it is also essential to get protection to the cows and take nectarian milk from their milk bags. The people of this age are inclined toward industrial enterprises for comfortable living, but they refuse to endeavor to execute devotional service by which they can achieve the ultimate goal of life, of returning back home, back to Godhead. Unfortunately, as it is said, Te vidu swarta katim hi Vishnu narashaya ye bahir arta maninaha. People without spiritual education do not know that the ultimate goal of life is to go back home, back to Godhead. Forgetting this aim of life, they are working very hard in disappointment and frustration. Mogasha moga kamano moga jnana vichetasaha. The so-called Vaishyas, the industrialists or businessmen, are involved in big industrial enterprises, but they are not interested in food grains and milk. However, as indicated here, by digging for water, even in the desert, we can produce food grains. When we produce food grains and vegetables, we can give protection to the cows. While giving protection to the cows, we can draw from them abundant quantities of milk, and by getting enough milk and combining it with food grains and vegetables, we can prepare hundreds of nectarian foods. We can happily eat this food and thus avoid industrial enterprises and joblessness. Agriculture and cow protection are the way to become sinless and thus be attracted to devotional service. Those who are sinful cannot be attracted by devotional service, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 28. Yeshang twanta kata papam jananam punya karmanam tidwanta mohanir mukta bhajanti mam pridavata. Quote, persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful activities are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of illusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. The majority of people in this age of Kali are sinful, short-living, unfortunate, and disturbed. Manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya. For them, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised Harinama, 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 Evakevalam, Kolo, Nasteva, 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 Gatir, Anyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way. Okay. I honestly don't remember what all I spoke. I didn't speak yesterday. I don't plan the classes out. So I may touch on something that I touched on yesterday. Okay. We'll start from the end of the purport. This verse comes from in the first canto, Srimad-bhagavatam. No, not that verse. Anyway, it's not there. But in any case, in the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There's no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way. So no, it's not. You can't achieve it by karmic activities that you do for sense gratification. You can't become delivered by the holy name by jhana, which tends to lead towards impersonal realization, or impersonal concept of God. And the only way that you can do it is by engaging in the Lord's devotional service. Um, and pure devotional service, which is what we want. Pure devotional service there's a verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, a very important verse. Anyavi lasita shunyam jnana karma janavritam anakulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttama. And it describes what is pure devotional service. It defines what is pure devotional service. And pure devotional service, it says, means that is pure devotional service means, first of all, you're doing some service that Krishna wants. So we can't just do something and say that this is my service. I give obviously the example. You just say, okay, my service today is I'm just going to go out and lay out in the sun on the beach or ride the waves or something, and that's what I decided I'm going to do as my service for Krishna today. But is that what Krishna wants you to? Is actually for Krishna, or is that for me, for my sense gratification? So pure devotional service means Krishna's service that Krishna wants you to do, and then in that service that Krishna wants you to do, it has to be also free from two things. One is the jhana, or basically impersonal speculation, personal philosophical ideas. Maybe I'm doing the service, but I want to. My ultimate goal in life is just to merge into the Brahma Jyoti somewhere. Someone's thinking like that. They could be doing so much nice service, but if their goal of that is to merge in Brahma Jyoti, or you have some kind of impersonalist conclusion, then that is also not pure devotional service. And of course, karma. So if we are engaged in so many nice devotional activities, but we're thinking, okay, I'm doing this now, but my real goal in life is I just want to go to the heavenly planets and enjoy there, or I want to, get some good karma, so my next lifetime I'll become very rich and rich and famous and things like that, material benefits, and so that I can enjoy the material world more. So so pure devotional service, for it to be really effective, for it to lead to the ultimate purpose, goal of life, means that we're doing nice devotional service, and our motive for doing it, or a motive, an additional motive besides that devotional service, is not karma and it's not jhana. So that's the point there. And then Srila Prabhupada quotes. I have a few points here. Srila Prabhupada also mentions about milk. Milk is very important, very important. In the Srimad-bhagavatam, I don't remember the chapter, but it's in first canto. Srila Prabhupada mentions that milk is also referred to as liquid. As liquid religiosity. Milk is called liquid religion, or religiosity in liquid form, either way. And why? Why is milk considered to be liquid religiosity? Because there are two reasons that I can think of. One of the reasons, of course, is that by drinking milk, then it helps Prabhupada mentions in that purport where he says that one of the reasons that it's called liquid religiosity is that by drinking that milk, it helps to develop the finer brain tissues that is necessary for advancing in spiritual life, or understanding spiritual knowledge, like that. And then another reason is that from milk comes cream. From cream comes you turn it into butter, and then you make ghee. So you perform, and especially in Vedic times, earlier times, fire sacrifices were done, and in fire sacrifice you're offering, what you're actually doing is you're asking the Lord to appear in the form of the fire, and you're actually chanting mantras, and you're putting ghee, you're feeding ghee and grains to the Lord, and chanting so many prayers in glorification of the Lord and His devotees. So ghee is also used in that way for the purpose of religious purposes, like that. We don't. Well, hopefully nobody is going to do a fire sacrifice and put, vegetable oil or something like that into the ghee. We'll save some money by we can't afford the ghee, so we'll put some canola oil or something into the fire. No, the idea is that an offering to the Lord, and someone might think, someone might make the argument and say, "Wow, these people are really wasteful. They're pouring butter, ghee into the fire, just throwing it away, throwing grains into it. Why don't you just use it to feed someone?" Okay, well, what we put in there is a pretty small amount. Maybe it's a pound of butter and a little bit of grains. But as a result of the fire sacrifice, there's so much. It's a sacrifice. So a sacrifice for the Lord. So the result of the sacrifice, then different things happen. Materially, things become better, and spiritually, things become better. So it's actually not. It's not really a waste. What is wasteful is when, say, the government says, "Okay, we got so much butter here. We used to. The government used to give us, for food help programs like that. They used to give us as much butter as we wanted. We had one time we had 100 boxes of butter. 100 boxes means a box of butter is 38 pounds or 36 pounds. So we had a huge amount of butter. I think somebody made a mistake in the order, but they actually gave it to us, and we had to have special facilities for keeping it frozen. But anyway, they did that, but and at one point they stopped giving it, not just us, but to anyone. They figured that if they're giving away all this butter, then it's going to hurt the economy. So they decided to throw it away, just get rid of it. So they keep the price of butter in the society up. The business people like that. You had to buy from them instead of getting it free from the government. So that is wasteful. That is wasteful. Just in the name of making things nice for the business people who are in that business of selling butter, they threw away so much perfectly good butter they wouldn't give it away, or wouldn't give it to us to give away like that. So in that way, the liquid religiosity comes into for those different purposes. And the very misfortune of the people in Kali Yuga is that people become more attracted to the killing many animals, but including a large amount of it is killing the cows. They figure, okay, the cow, we better kill the cow and sell the meat, and then rather than to take care of the cows and produce milk. They think like that. They don't understand that by their killing of these cows, and so many other animals, the pigs and the chickens, and so many animals are being slaughtered, millions, on a regular basis. They're not aware, obviously, that the result of doing that, the result of killing like that, is the karma comes back, obviously, right? So on one hand, they have slaughterhouses killing millions and millions and millions of cows, and at the same time, all the governments of the world are trying to figure out how to stop war. But the wars and disease, these are all big problems. In any part of the world, there's so many wars or threats of wars going on, and everywhere in the world there's so much disease of all sorts, and other calamities that kill so many people. Sometimes there's a big landslide, as there is sometimes in certain parts of the world, and thousands of people die like that. So this is going on, but people don't understand, and we wouldn't have understood. I wouldn't have understood had I not come to know of Krishna consciousness, why these things happen in that way. But the fact is that all this karma from slaughtering animals it comes back, and it's not just slaughtering the animals. There's also abortions. I don't know the number now, but there were how many millions and millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of babies have been killed in the womb. It's a highly sinful activity, but people are not aware of these things. You gotta go. You're traveling now?
No,
Appointment. Okay. And they're unaware, and you can't. And nobody's going to figure these things out just by thinking about it. We basically have to take this knowledge, higher knowledge. So we were talking the other day about the two kinds of ways of receiving knowledge, which are the ascending and descending. Ascending means inductive, is another name for it, and descending process means descending is deductive, right? Anyway, there's two processes. The process that we try to figure it out ourselves, that's we call it inductive or ascending, and then there's the process where we take the perfect knowledge from the higher source, means from Krishna through the disciplic succession, like that, and then we just accept it, which of course is the most perfect. But if someone's trying with our imperfect senses, our tendency to cheat, our conditioned, our tendency to make mistakes, and that we fall into illusion. Those four defects of the living entity. If someone tries with all these defects is trying to figure out something, there's going to be mistakes. So But by hearing from the higher sources, we hear through the reciprocal succession, it becomes very clear and obvious that what the purpose of human form of life is, what the goal of life is, and how to achieve that goal of life. I was telling the story the other day of when I was somewhere in high school. First day in school, the teacher, I think it was a history teacher, but anyway, first assignment had nothing to do with history. The first assignment that he gave us was, first assignment today is I want you tonight to write down your own personal philosophy of life. And of course, I had no idea about Krishna consciousness, so I never thought about a philosophy of life. I had a hard time with it. But that was the assignment. But if we accept knowledge from the descending process, from up, and accept it as it is, then our philosophy of life is very easy. Our philosophy of life is, okay, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I am his servant, and the goal of life is to go back home, back to Godhead, and all the principles and guidelines it's already built into it. Just by accepting, you just accept the perfect philosophy, like that. Actually, I'm supposed to end class by 8:30 each day. It's almost that. So let me just open up and ask if there are any questions or comments. Anyone? Well, okay, if there is nothing, and there's nobody, we're streaming this, that's the reason for all the camera and everything, but no one here is asking online, is asking any questions either. So if there is no questions, then we'll end here for today, and tomorrow we'll continue with the next verse, text number 13. Canto 8, Chapter 6, text number 13 for tomorrow. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.